Broken Shield Challenge. This is my effort. My winning effort, I'll add. Right, so I'm going to use a SH Figure Arts. What am I going to use? The Age of... no, it's not. Civil War. So I'm going to use the Civil War shield. I have a few of the Captain America Civil War from Figure Arts figures. So I've got a spare shield. I'm going to use one of those. Drop that. But I'm going to stick him on the Age of Ultron body just to see where it is. So let's have a look, see what I can do. That's it, because he's a nice old figure, so he goes on quite easily. I've used this shield rather than this shield because if you look up on the inside, they don't have all this crap, and the holes are slightly closer together. They don't have all this big crap around there either. So when I trim it down, hopefully something like that, I won't hit any of those big bits. Just like that. So let's get this one on there. Oh, this looks cack-handed, doesn't it? Alright, so that's it. So what I'll do is, I've got my reference picture. So this is Iron Studios Captain America from Endgame. So I'm going to get the shield kind of where his is, because obviously his is a bit of an angle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace the line using a pen and just do something like that, as close as I can. So I'm going to use a Sharpie, and I'm going to be brave. So that's the top. Right, so reference pictures, that's the top. And then I'm going to turn this way because that's the way I am. And so let's get going, shall we? Let's get on it. It's about there, isn't it? So, I think it looks something like that. Got maybe a bit lower, do you think? Or just a tad lower there. A bit more broken off there, so if I bring that back a bit. And then bring that into there. If I keep this side of it, that'll be enough off. So that's roughly the shape I'm going to go for. I've decided to elect for a brutal method round here of, if I can find my tools, where are they? Using these. So I'm going to use these, I'm going to trim it out, because I think this way it gets a really horrible, jagged, crappy sort of effect, and then I'm going to have a look, go from there. Right, let's get cutting. Cue music. Right, I've done that. I've also done a few scratches on there. So I've just mixed up a bit, you know, trying to be close to the picture. You see the picture, it's got loads of scratches on top of the shield. So I thought I'd try and scratch that up a bit. So it's actually got some kind of texture there. I've also put the detail in the middle there, because it wasn't on the original. and I'm going to well, I'm going to have a go painting this then. So I've got a bit of burnt umber here, and I've got some like gunmetal silver. I've got my brushes, and I'm going to give this a go. So I'm going to try and get this. Just try and dry brush this a little bit. I'm not the world's greatest painter, but you can try and just see it there a little bit, can't you? So if you see it there, do that quite nicely. Right, so I've gone ahead and just did a bit more dry brushing there, just to dirt up a little bit. So you don't need very much at all. Just dry it off a little bit and just trying to get those. It's a great thing about dry brushing, you know, just give it a good rub and you can get rid of your shitty mistakes. I'm not an expert at this by any means. You know, there's some guys on there who are much better than I am, but you know, when you get the idea. And that doesn't look too bad, I think. Looks like it's been through hell. So I'll put that one off. Right, so if I go on to my silver now, get rid of any excess, and I'm just going to go over the lines, over the end here. Pick that up. Right. So I finished off the dry brushing, and I've got all the details here. The only thing I have done is I've had to just cut off the edge of this one. So what I'm going to do is find the one that matches. Not that one, the other one. It's in there somewhere. There it is. So find the one that matches, and I'm going to put it in place, and then I'm just going to trim that down so you can't see it from the other side. If I snip it off there, that's where I want it snipped off. Ping. If I take that off, I'll just get my Stanley and just try and take that down a bit so it just looks rounded off a little bit. So it looks like the original strap, so it looks like it's a little bit rounded off. I'll reduce the profile of it. It's not too bad. See there, just cut it down a little bit. So just so there, offer it up. And you can't see it from this side, so it looks good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paint that darker brown, let that dry, but I'm going to super glue that in there because that hole's missing. So that is my finished shield. Let's see if I can get his hand on that. Oh, I got his hand here. Oh shit. There you go. So that would look like that when it's on. I'll leave it dry and then I will take a picture. So there's the finished product. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate all your support and watching this. As you can see, this is the finished product and he looks absolutely amazing. It just looks like it has been torn off. There's all that jagged metal there, and along with my custom cap, put his shoulder down, I think it looks really good. Definitely a winning shield.
Right, here we go. I've got my shield. And being as I've drawn the short end of the straw, I have a hacksaw. Fresh from Poundland today. You can see I've got the shield from the stealth suit cap. I've put a kind of a rough line on where I want it cut. Obviously the shield is blue, but the other two are probably so scared of my skills that I've gone for something to give them a bit more of an advantage. Let's give it a try. Right, you'll probably notice a bit of a jump because I wasn't paying attention to my phone and it decided to cut out halfway through cutting that, but this is the result. It's not too bad. I would have preferred to use a Dremel obviously, but it got the job done for what we need. So now I'm going to get a bit of heat on the straps and pop them out of there because I'll be repainting them. I'll have to clean this little bit up here as well where I slipped with the saw. Clean the edges up a little bit with some sandpaper, sand the whole thing over. Give it a prime. Give it a silver spray all over. Then come in with my detail painting after that. So I'll go get it primed up and I will see you in a minute. Right, here it is. Primed black and then just had a silver spray over the top. There's a couple of little scratches on it, but it's not the end of the world. And the more eagle-eyed among you will notice that I couldn't get the straps out. No matter how much I heated it up, they weren't having it. So they've been sprayed silver and all, so they'll just have to be painted afterwards. Yeah, it's not the end of the world. We'll get around it. We always do. Now, I will try my best to paint it on camera, but if the video ends up cutting out, it's because it's too much of a pain in the ass. But we'll see how we go. It will need a couple of coats of this obviously, but so we just got to go around like that, get this bit done, and then we'll be back. Right, basic paintwork's done. It's not the best, I will admit. Partly my fault because I forgot to buy a new detail brush, and I also used Tamiya paints instead of my usual Citadel ones for this. I used just a red and a blue. Mainly because I didn't have time to get down Games Workshop and buy some new ones, but that's life. For the purposes of this, it will suffice. Obviously, if you're doing it yourself, I would suggest you use one of the cap shields that is already painted. So I'm going to start just giving it a quick wash with this Citadel Known oil. It's one of the Citadel shades, and it should just help dull it down, because obviously at the minute it looks very new and we don't be wanting that. So we're just going to whack a load of this over it, and basically this will get in all the gaps and help us start our weathering. You can see already it's seeping into a lot of the grooves, which will help just give it that slightly more battle damage look. Now, obviously I now need to wait for this to dry and then we can move on. So as soon as it's dry, we will carry on. Right, wash is dry. It's just added a little bit of something to it. So, moving on, we'll start with the silver. Give it a shake up. I'm using the Iron Hands Steel from Citadel, and we're just going to dry brush a little bit on. Nothing too crazy. Just trying to get a few scratches on there. It's much easier to add more than it is to try and take it off. Just using whatever cheap brushes I had to hand. Mainly focusing around these edges here where the shield's broken, because you really want that to stand out more than anything. Now I'm going to do pretty much the same again, but with a black. And that will pretty much do. Obviously I haven't done the back yet. I've given it a bit of a wash ready, but I haven't painted the straps or anything. Mainly because I really need a better detail brush for that, and the one I'm using at the minute, as you can tell by the face of the shield, isn't really good enough. But for now, I think this isn't too bad, considering I've mainly tried to keep it as cheap as possible. We'll see what everyone else has done. And here we go, guys. The finished piece, sat with cap. Didn't come out too bad. See, I painted the bit of weathering on the front, straps on the back. So, all in all, fairly pleased with it. I would probably prefer to use a Dremel, try and get a better cut, but for a hacksaw I think it came out alright. So if you want a quick, cheap, easy method of doing it, I would suggest this one. Maybe if you want to make it even quicker and cheaper, actually use a red shield as opposed to the blue shield, because it will save you a lot of time and effort. You'd literally just have to weather over the top of it, but as it stands, I generally prefer priming and repainting anyway. I think you get a better finish, but in general, if you just want a quick, easy mod for your cap, it's not a bad way to do it. And looking forward to seeing what the others come up with, just to see who can fight it out for second and third place. So for now, guys, I'll catch you later.
What's going on, toy fans? Ben Piper here from Project Piper Customs, and now it's my turn. Okay, so here we have 3 different cap shields from different figures. We have the shield that came with the Endgame Marvel Legend Captain America, and we have the pristine shield that came with the Time Suit Endgame figure, and we have the Civil War one. Now, I want to leave this as is, because there'll be times when I want to shoot Cap with the whole shield, and I thought I'd use the Civil War one for the broken in half shield, purely because it's beaten to shit anyway. But there is a significant difference. As you can see, this one has quite a thick flat rim around the edge, whereas these two are the same, just one's battle damaged and one's not. As you can see, there is no flat edge across it at all. I prefer this. I prefer where there's no flat edge whatsoever. Gives it more of the shield frisbee style look, whereas this is just blunt. And as cool as all the battle damage is, I'm going to be using the pristine one, and I'm going to beat the living piss out of it. Okay, so this is the one I'll use. I've got my reference material, okay, my visual reference. And with the Sharpie, I'm going to mark on the shield where I want the cut to be. Okay, and then my method will be the Dremel. Okay, seeing as there's already going to be a time lapse of me doing the cutting of the shield, I don't want a second one. I mean, Christ, how many time lapses are going to be in this video? I thought I'd take the time, whilst you're watching me draw a black line over a piece of plastic, to tell you about one of the stories of my recent trip to Amsterdam. Now, it's our last day, and we thought we'd take one last stroll around the city centre, and yeah, we had our flight in the evening, so we're doing a complete lap at the whole strip, the old red light district, which operates 24/7. So it's about lunchtime, you know, sun's out, all the families are out, all the tourists are out, and we're walking past down the strip, and one of the prostitutes all of a sudden just bursts out from her window door and just starts screaming at this little old German lady. And this prostitute's pretty much wearing nothing, okay? And this prostitute's pretty much just screaming, no photo, because you're not allowed to take any pictures. Of course, this German lady is saying, no, nine photo, and she had actually been taking pictures. They then proceeded to literally have a punch up, full blown, hair pulling, you name it, right there in broad daylight in the middle of the street, with our jaws dropped, and we're just standing back, recreating that famous scene from the Friday movie. Damn! Yeah, pretty much. And of course, the German lady's husband just had to stand there and do nothing, whilst her wife's hair is being ripped out, and the prostitute tries to go for her phone. True story. Couldn't believe it, but I bet he definitely did not want to break it up, just to see if it led anywhere else, because it's probably up there in his top 10 fantasies of all time. Anyway, that is a true story. Thought I'd share it. Oh, looks like we're getting back to it. Okay, so we've got the marking line on. That's where the cut will be. It's only rough, as I'll be going in with all the jagged details with a file. Okay, so this is just where I'm going to be doing the cut and the rough shape of it. Alright, so that is on there. Let's get the lid back on our Sharpie. Excuse me for nudging the camera. Get that on there before it dries out. Okay, next task now is to get some heat and peel these off. Alright, so then we do the cut afterwards, and then we can see what space we're working with, because it's not going to leave much. Alright, so next task, get these straps off. Okay, as you can see, I've got it in some really hot water in the sink, and I'm just going to let it soak. Okay, so after a good soak for about 5 minutes, I was able to, these softened up, because obviously they're soft rubber, and I was able to peel them off. Now obviously they did tear slightly here and here, but I got the bulk of it. So yeah, I'm not pleased. They're going to get cut down anyway, obviously, so as long as the bulk of it's there, don't worry about it. Alright, as you can see, it's got torn there a little bit, and yeah, got torn quite nicely here, but like I said, we got the bulk of it. Mainly, so long as you got the hoop intact, you're fine. These two obviously were stuck on like a bitch, so I needed to really heat them up in order to dig them out. I'm not worried about this in there, as it's getting cut. Okay, so now let's get cutting. Safety first. And there you have it. Here we have the cut. Okay, I've gone in just a bit more over these parts, but here is the finished cut, and I don't think I'm going to need to do any filing. to get in any of those grooves or anything like that, because the Dremel looks like it's done it all on its own, which is great. Left a nice little edge across it, and I've gone ahead and attached the straps. Obviously this cut here didn't leave much of the strap insert. In fact, it left none. So what I had to do is I had to chase out a section, as you can see just there. Okay, just a little sliver, a little groove, and yeah, obviously insert the strap there. I've had to curl it over a bit more, but it still fits all nice. And yeah, it's not too visible, but it looks pretty much movie accurate. So yeah, next thing to do now is to give the whole thing a sand and get the gloss off. Hit it with some matte sealer, okay, and that will really make it, you know, look dull and matte. Okay, and then we go in with some painting. So let's get started. Okay, so the matte spray was a little bit of a failure because I didn't realise I was completely, almost empty in the can of matte spray. So obviously what was left just basically pretty much turned it gloss, the exact opposite of what I wanted. So I end up sanding it back a bit more, and what I'll do is towards the end I will use some Mod Podge. Mod Podge is pretty much like school glue or PVA glue. Same consistency, and yeah, water it down and apply a layer and it will dry matte. And the more layers you apply, or if you just apply it neat, it will dry gloss. If my new can of matte spray doesn't arrive in time, I'll just do that. But for now, what I'm going to do is there's a bit too much in the way of scratching, to my liking anyway. So what I've got with me is I've got some, there you go, dark scarlet, which it's a good sort of match for the paint that's on there. So I'm just going to ever so lightly dry brush a few of these scratches out, leaving some because I like, you know, I want the worn silver, and also the paint is matte itself, so it'll help give that matte. A bit in here too, and then go in here with some more dry brushing of silver, and the blue I'll leave because I like that, that's fine, the scratches the way they are. And then we're going to dry brush some titanium silver across here, just give us that fresh metal look. And then we're going to go in the black wash and add some more. Now, these indentations, I've already gone in and lined them with this pen here, which is a Copic multi-liner, SP 0.3. It's a fine tip. And what I've done, as you can see, okay, so that tip gets in perfectly. Okay, it gets in there. It's hard to do on camera. I get it, yeah, so it gets in perfectly. Okay, and the black wash will accomplish this too, but I just wanted to give it a head start. Okay, so I've done all 3 circles and the inside of the star. Okay, you can see there's a little bit there. There we go. But it gives you an idea. And lastly, yay! Oh no! See, it's the beauty about customization. Okay, there's a lot of trial and error. You have an idea going in, you try it out. If it doesn't work, you try something else. Okay, fortunately this pen was able to get in there, so that's good. And if it didn't, I would just gone in with the black wash anyway. So let's get on with some painting.
Assemble.